I would like to, on behalf of the Board of Directors and members of staff of AFEW, to welcome everyone here. I'm so happy. This is one event since I started getting associated with the Giraffe that I never miss, because it gives me so much inspiration. And like I used to tell my children, I was a child one time. So when I'm in this particular forum, I feel like I'm back into that kind of forum of being a child, and I enjoy it immensely. I also would like to welcome everybody, like I said, but also to thank our guest of honor, Winnie Kiru, for gracing this event to award these young leaders as they share their thoughts, ideas, visions, and actions for nature. Winnie Kiru is a renowned conservationist, and I think if we were to count 10 top conservationists after Wangari Maathai left us, they should be among the top 10. So having her here is such an inspiration, and if you have time and you want to talk to her after we finish this session, grab her, ask her as many questions as you can. I also would like to, further to take this opportunity to encourage the youth to continue putting on their innovative hats in a constantly changing environment, to adapt and provide solutions for a more sustainable world as we develop our society and our country, Kenya. There is no country that can talk about environment the way we normally put boundaries around the world and call it Kenya. For those people who have been watching television, the fires we have in Canada have now made New York, which is a different city in a different country, the most polluted city in the world by today's standards. For those people who know about how to count the numbers, they tell us that they use the numbers and they say that up to about 200 units you can survive there. But I think by yesterday, I think New York was in 380. You seem to know something about it. Come here. Come and tell us. What did they say about that pollution? Tell the people.
So, I was watching a YouTube video on it, and I think on Saturday, no, not on Saturday, it was on Monday, that it was up to 450, and like it was red, like the air was all the way red.
Thank you very much. That's the thing about the media, I think, and the knowledge we have, that the human being has the ability to change what is happening in the environment, and if we don't do it, we'll surely perish. So if this world, the only planet known to support life, ever becomes, vanishes, it is not because it did it on its own. It's because of you and me, because we did not take the action. Now, the other point I wanted to talk about is that I just want to say sometimes things are started by visionaries. If you look at about 1974, that's when Jock and Betty, his wife, they were living in a house called the Giraffe Manor, looked at what was happening around Eldoret and realized that the Rothschild giraffe, which is now called also Baringo giraffe, was going to be decimated by the partitions of the land where it was living. Because the land was being sold, it was being cut into small pieces, and the numbers had come down to less than 120. So when a species gets to a level that looks dangerous, it is put in what we call the not the critical, but the endangered list. So Rothschild giraffe was put in the endangered list. It was going to become extinct in our lifetime. For those people who know about the giraffes, they tell us that we have about 9 subspecies of giraffes in the world. In Kenya we have 3, and we have to protect the 3. Does anybody know what the 3 are? I'm sure the young people do have. Somebody come and tell us. Somebody down there knows. Somebody raise their hand. Young man there? Who knows about the 3 subspecies we have? Come here. I want you to come and tell people so that they hear from the youth. What are the 3 subspecies of the giraffes we have? And listen carefully, because it may come in an exam at the end of the year and you may fail. So listen very carefully. What are the 3 species of giraffes we have in Kenya?
We have the Rothschild's giraffe, the reticulated giraffe, and the Maasai giraffe.
You need to repeat it again. Did you hear it? Did you hear well? Okay, come and repeat it again and say it loud.
Okay. We have the Rothschild's giraffe, reticulated giraffe, and the Maasai giraffe.
Yes. Thank you very much. We have the 3 subspecies. So the species we are looking after here is the Rothschild giraffe, or the Baringo giraffe. The others are not critically endangered, but the Rothschild giraffe was at a number that was very endangered. And that particular giraffe species lives along the equator. And for those people who did not know, that Kenya has about probably close to the 90% of all the Rothschild giraffe in the wild today. The other small number is in Murchison Falls, but the rest is here. So people come from all over the world to see this unique giraffe. So when you come down there, you are looking at a different type of a giraffe from what you see at the Nairobi National Park. From the one you see in Samburu, it's a different giraffe. Now, when Wangari Maathai wrote her book, for those people who have read her book called Unbowed, and I urge you to read it, Unbowed. One of the things she says in that book is that if every one of us did their little thing in conserving this planet, then this planet would be able to survive, and we would be able to survive. Life would be able to survive. So I always tell the people that our little thing is to save the Baringo giraffe. Wangari Maathai used to say, my little thing is what? You remember? What was her little thing? What was Wangari Maathai's little thing? She said, my little thing is planting trees. So the question I want you to leave here with is, what is your little thing in saving Mother Earth? What is that little thing you are going to do? So write it somewhere and say, this is my little thing. If you look at what we have done as human beings in pushing other species out, I was reading somewhere recently, which is scaring statistics, that shows that all living creatures that are there, 85% is now made up of human beings and livestock. The others are the wild animals. So that is why when we talk about the lions in Kenya, you see somebody saying there are only 1,800 lions remaining in Kenya today. If you talk about Tanzania, about 6,000, which is the largest number of lions in any country. There are 6,800 lions in Tanzania. But if you think about that number, it is small. But we have pushed all other creatures out. So we are the ones now dominating, and we have gotten to a level that most of the creatures that we have are actually endangered or threatened. And we need to think about the thing of the balance of nature. We cannot live alone. It's just like the bee itself. If it does not do the pollination, we will surely die, because the plants will not be able to produce the production that is. We have to have a balance. the artwork that which was displayed down there. Today, as you know, it is the Environmental Awards Day. And the other thing is that it is coming at a time when we are celebrating 40 years since the Giraffe Center was set up in 1983. 10 years before it was set up was trying to look for funds, but it was set up in 1983 as an education center by Jock and Betty Melville. Now, when they set it up, we continued with that theme that we must touch our young people, because they are the people who are going to live longer than the older people, so to speak, and they are the people who have the biggest interest in conserving and saving this Mother Earth. So when I saw the artwork, it was so telling in terms of the grasp of the young people in telling the world that if we don't do something, we will surely die. So continue preaching and giving that message, and also putting it into practice. The final part I wanted to talk about, because I have to cut my speech short, is that today I wanted us to focus on the plastics. If you look at the plastics, it's becoming a real menace in terms of the environment. So what we tried is we tried three things. We tried something we called the reduce. We preached the recycle. We also tried to use the reusing of plastic, so that you have a bag you can keep on reusing. But if you look again at the statistics, we have only been able to recycle 15% of what we are producing as plastics. So it is becoming a challenge that those three arms and those three approaches are not working. So we need a fourth one. So there is a now fourth aspect that we are focusing on, which we are calling the reorientation and diversification. And I wanted to bring something here. Now, when I looked at some of the people who are doing recycling, I went to a group called Nairobi Recycling, Waste Recycling Group. You want to hold it for me? I found out that one of the things they are doing is that they are recycling plastic by making poles. These are poles made from all the papers that we throw away. These are poles that you can use to fence places. So in terms of recycling, if we had accelerated the recycling, we could do it. In fact, I tried to get a piece which was they're using as tiles to thatch houses. So they're also doing tiles to do that. And now what I was thinking when I saw that, what they were doing, is that the schools have to move from just the planting of the trees to have small, now that we have CBC, kind of workshops where we do the recycling. And I'm asking AFEW, with the little funds we have, that if we get a school that can start a small project in recycling, having the waste being turned into poles, being made into other things that can be able to stay, we will be able to support that particular effort. And I'm sure there are many people out there that would also like to support that. These are poles that are made from plastics. So what we need to do is to go to the next level, to start talking about reorientation. Can we be able to start asking those people who manufacture plastics to stop making plastics, to have alternatives, to have things that can be recycled and they can be able to be reused. They can be able to decompose. Because if we continue producing plastics, and you know very well that the people who produce plastics are also the people in the oil industry, in the fuel industry. They are very strong. They don't want that to end, but they are thinking in terms of short term. In fact, if you think more, you will see that the next COP28, COP28 is going to be chaired by an oil minister, which is to me a shame, because they want to dilute the issue of pushing on the oil. But I think if we can start pushing the agenda that we must get away from plastics and start having other industries that come up with a recyclable or decomposing type of items, we'll be able to do well in that. So I'll leave you with that message. We have tried the reusing, we have tried to reduce, we have tried the recycling. We must continue with those efforts, but we must also start thinking more and more in having a convention, having laws that tell the companies you no longer can make plastics. Start thinking of the alternative methods to save this fragile planet. This is the only planet up to now, and for those people who know about the research that has been done, we went and set up equipment to try and find out whether there is life in other places. We have not found so far any other planet that can support life. And when I talk about supporting life, I'm talking about trees, ants, human beings, animals. There is no other planet that has been known to support life apart from Earth. We do not have a plan B. If we destroy this planet, we can as well say kwaheri to our lives. So with that, I'd like you to go wherever you are and do your little thing. Thank you.